Hi everyone, this is Luxtos, and today I'm going to bring you another video guide for Diablo 4. This time around it's going to be for Druid, more specifically the Pulverize Werebear leveling guide. So one of my favorite build out there, you probably have seen it before if you've played the beta, just those big ass bear just slapping the ground, just demolishing everything with those massive overpower hits. Really fun, extremely satisfying to play. One of my favorite Druid build out there. Really, really fun. And this one is going to be with a twist. You're actually going to be a Earth Pulverizing Bear with the access to a nice legendary here. That's going to give you your Pulverize some Earth damage, which is accessible a little bit later as you progress through the campaign. In later acts, you're going to get it pretty much into your mid playthrough here, and you're going to be able to turn into a massive Earth Bear. It's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be super enjoyable. We're going to be covering the skill tree. We're going to be covering the spirit boons, the legendary aspect, all the codexes that you're going to be using, and the gear that you're going to want to use, your gem, all that sweet stuff. We're going to be covering all of that up. But first, we're going to do the skill tree. So I'm going to show you what did I pick, why did I choose it, and in what order I would normally choose it. So we're going to give you a little bit of an overview here. We're just not going to let you look at the tree and have fun. We're going to give you an order here. So I'm going to build it point by point, and make sure you take it with a grain of salt. So I got my list here on the side of what points I would put in what order. But this is not necessarily 100% the best way to do it, because a lot of things are going to be situational. Are you taking a lot of damage? Cool, then maybe spec into Iron for a little bit earlier if you need a little bit more damage mitigation here, right? Do you feel like you're not doing enough damage? Then maybe skip a little bit of defensive and go for the increased damage. Feel free to tune this as you go, depending on your damage and your defensive layer, depending on what legendary you find and the gear you find and how your playthrough is going. Also, depending on the world tier difficulty that you're going. Things could change a little bit, but I'm still going to go through the list and give you an idea of what building this build would look like level by level. We're going to start things off with Stormstrike here. Pretty much Stormstrike is going to be picked for every leveling build Druid guide. In my opinion, it is the best generator. It does just as much spirit as the highest generator Maul, but on top of it, you get 25% damage reduction, which is really nice. And it hits more than one ability, more than one target. And it gives you access to vulnerable. Really, really, really strong. Damage mitigation, high spirit regen, cleaves, and vulnerable. You can't get better than that. So we're going to put 1 point in Stormstrike, 1 point in Enhanced Stormstrike to unlock the second layer here in order to get some Pulverize. We're going to go into Pulverize, Enhanced Pulverize here, and then we're going to go into our Primal Pulverize. So Pulverize is going to be this massive ability that just slams the ground for a high amount of damage. But what makes it so good is that if you remain healthy or above 80% health, after 12 seconds, your next Pulverize is guaranteed to overpower. And it's going to hit very hard. Overpower does massive, massive hit, and it will simply annihilate any monster that is nearby. It's going to be absolutely insane. And then you're going to get this to give you a little bit more resistance. So this is going to be really, really good. It's going to give you an additional defensive layer. This is just going to make you an unkillable bear. You're always going to be healthy. You're always going to be using and getting those overpower. It's going to be really, really, really good. Absolutely love this one here. You're going to go pick Fierce Stormstrike to enable that vulnerability. Really, really good. And then you're going to go into Earthen Bulwark here, which is going to be your first big defensive layer. It's going to give you access to the Earthen Bulwark here. It's going to give you access to your Absorb on demand every 16 seconds. So that's going to be really, really good. After that, we're going to go back here and dump 5 points into Pulverize. And I've pretty much done the same order for every Druid build. If you've watched the other video, it's pretty much the same order always. You want to get this early on because you want to make sure that you dish enough damage with the enemies that are going to be scaling. A mistake that a lot of people will do is they will get kind of caught up in the rest of the build. They'll go down the tree, pick new abilities, and then their main core ability that they spam all day is still level 1. They're not dishing out any damage, and they're struggling, right? Because every time you level, all the monster around you gets stronger, but you don't necessarily get stronger unless you get gear or upgrade your skills. you don't really get stronger. So you want to make sure to get this as level 5. It's going to be really, really good. We're going to get Poison Creeper. Amazing minion. This is going to be... I get it on every single build now for leveling purposes. Poison Creeper Immobilized does great poison damage. It's just a great 20-second cooldown ability. You want to use it on CD. We're going to get the Wolves as well. Nice little meat shield. Nice little distraction. They're very, very nice. We're going to pick those. Really, really good. And Earthen Bulwark is going to allow you to be unstoppable. So if you need an emergency, get out of CC, it's going to be really, really good, especially with the legendary that extends the duration of Bulwark. You're going to be unstoppable for 9 seconds. A little bit overpowered. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of insane. I don't know if they're going to look at it, but it's really insane. We're going to go 1 point into Heart of the Wild because we're going to go 3 points into Abundance here. Allows us to get a little bit more regen and able to spam a little bit more Pulverize. That's going to be really, really cool. We're going to go into Enhance Poison Creeper. Make sure it immobilizes for a little bit longer. And then we're going to go for increase the duration of the poison. That's going to be really, really good. It's going to dish out a lot of damage. We're not going to be critting that often. We're not going necessarily for crit. So for crit damage, because we're going to put all of our points into Overpower. This is viable if you want more damage, but I like the poison duration here because we're going to get slow for longer. And you know, they're just going to get poison for longer, which is going to do a little bit more damage, which is really, really nice. It does a lot of damage. We're going to enhance the wolf here. That's going to be really good. And then we're going to put a point in Neurotoxin. What this enables pretty much is that because you're poisoning all of the enemies here, they're all going to be slowed. So they're all going to be considered as crowd control, and you're going to be able to dish out additional damage to all the enemies around you. That's going to be really good. That's going to be really, really nice. Actually, I forgot, before Neurotoxin, the order doesn't really matter that much, but make sure to get Ferocious Wolves. That's going to give you Fortify every time they attack. That's going to be really good. And then you go for Neurotoxin here. So just go in that order. And then this unlock our ultimate and probably the most broken ability in the game, Grizzly Rage here. Grizzly Rage is really, really, really good. You get 20% damage reduction, 20% bonus damage, and extend doing damage, increase the bonus damage. Killing things, increase the bonus damage. It extends the duration. So every time you kill something, it extends the duration. Every second you're in the form, you deal bonus damage. If you can maintain this, you're just going to be an unstoppable, there you go, unstoppable Grizzly. It's going to be really, really good. And then you're going to go for Prime and Supreme. It's going to give you Fortify. It's going to give you Unstoppable. It's absolutely broken. This cooldown is like probably the greatest cooldown in the game. Really insane. And Venom here, really, really good. We're going to go with 3 points on this one. It's going to give you more critical strike damage here on the Envenom. So that's going to be pretty neat. That's going to be really, really good. I kind of prefer to go with the duration. If you feel like you need more crit chance, you can always go with this. But this is for a very low duration, right? They're only getting immobilized for 3 seconds. It's pretty much one Pulverize. I much rather have the poison last longer, which is then going to funnel into being slowed longer, and then it's going to be funneled into additional critical strike damage on them with the Envenom. So that's going to be pretty good here. We're going to go for 1 point into Predatory Instinct here. Putting 1 point here is going to allow us to unlock Iron Fur, which is going to give us a nice layer of defensiveness here. And then we're going to go for Earthen Might, which is going to be right here at the bottom. So once you put that last point here, click, you get access to this page. So this is going to be something that is going to be a little bit different. As you wonder, you're like, okay, Lux, why are we doing Earthen Might and not Ursine Strength, right? Because this is the bear one. This is the earth one. We don't really have any earth skill. What is going on? So if you get to this point here into the build and you've been able to collect, this legendary right here, which we talked about at the start of the video. If you've been able to get the skill here, this legendary in this zone right here in this dungeon, if you've been able to get this, your Pulverize is now going to be an earth skill. And after casting Pulverize, you will get spikes that will continue to do damage over 2 seconds, right? So this earth skills that is going to continuously do damage is going to restore, is going to have a chance to restore all your spirit, which is insane. So if you spam the ability and then you get earth proc and then it regens all your spirit and then you can just keep going, it's kind of insane, right? It also has a chance to guarantee critical strike for 5 seconds. If the critical strike lines up with the overpower hit, you just one-shot everything. And then you get some additional benefit here. So you get an additional percentage of chance if you're critting or if the target is stunned, immobilized, or knocked back, which is they're always going to have a good chance of being immobilized here with your poison creeper, and that's going to be really, really good, right? So Earthen Might is just really, really good for this build when you get the legendary. If you don't have the legendary, feel free to pick Earthen Strength. That's going to be really, really good as well. That's going to give you a nice amount of free damage that you're going to get. While healthy, especially, you're just going to get bonus damage. But when you get the Lego, you're going to want to swap to this. It's just going to allow you to literally spam Pulverize and get a lot of procs. It's going to be really, really good. But feel free to use this one. You can even use this one until the end. It doesn't matter. The 30% damage while healthy is really good, and the maximum life is pretty good as well. But yeah, Earthen Might with the build is going to be super strong. So I'm going to keep that one locked in. We're going to go with Persevering Earthen Bulwark. So it's going to be really, really nice to keep rolling that Fortify for the bear. Really, really good. Because you're going to want to stay healthy as much as possible because overpower damage scales with your life. So you're going to want to make sure that you stay healthy at all times. So having extra defensive layer is never bad. We're going to go for Call of the Wild here. 3 points here. I'm just going to notice something while we're here. As I spoken about the Earthen Might, a lot of this here that we're about to go get really, really soon here. A lot of this here that we're about to go obtain is going to be based on nature magic damage. The only time you're going to be doing nature magic damage is if you have the legendary we just talked about. So for now, I'm not putting any points into this because it's pretty likely that at this point you're not there yet. If you are, feel free to start putting point here. You're going to be getting massive amount of damage here. So if you go look at the tree, this whole part is going to get filled out, but don't put any point here until you got the Earth legendary for Pulverize. Otherwise, none of this is going to trigger because nothing is going to do nature magic skill. Okay? Nothing is going to be considered a nature magic. So none of this is going to work. But once you do get it, this is going to get really, really powerful, and this is going to make you scale quite a lot. But for now, I'm on purpose avoiding it to put some points elsewhere until you can guarantee that you get the legendary, just to make sure that you do. So we're going to get Call of the Wild here, and then we're going to move on to the next zone. So we're going to put 1 point in Defiance, 1 point in Circle of Life. So you're just going to get healed every time you consume Spirit, and you're just going to do more damage to elites with your ability, and then you're going to put 3 point into Resonance. It's just going to be really, really good. It's going to do massive amount of damage. If an Earth skill is cast after a Storm skill, you get increased damage. It does triple the 6%. So this is really, really, really good. You're going to want to put your 3 points in there. Natural Disaster as well is going to be really, really good. You do more damage to vulnerable target. They're going to be vulnerable because of Storm Strike, so that's going to be awesome as well. Free percentage. And then you finish off with 2 points in Defiance to max it out. 2 points into Circle of Life to max it out. Sorry. Then you're going to go 3 points into Wild Impulses. I like to get this a little bit later because if you don't have enough spirit regen, you're going to struggle spamming your Pulverize. So get this a little bit later when you have a little bit more spirit regen. This is going to really, really help. Defensive Posture is going to give you a little bit more Fortify. It's a nice 2 point here to get here. Everything that generates Fortify that you have is going to be increased. So that's going to be really, really, really good. And then you are going to finish off with Ancestral Fortitude here. Your last 3 point right here. And you're going to be done with the build. Ancestral Fortitude in my guide was done a little bit earlier. It seems like I missed it while doing the ordering. You can get this a little bit sooner. Like I said, take this with a grain of salt. In my build, it was in the 36 and 37 point. 2 point to get at least 10%. Then you did Call of the Wild. So right before this, I put 2 point here, did this, did all the rest of this. But I just forgot about this one. I skipped over it by accident. But it doesn't really matter. As soon as you have like most of your setup in your ability, like I said, it's going to be all about, hey, do I need to be a little bit more tanky? Make sure you get Ancestral Fortitude, or do I need to do a little bit more damage? Yes, cool. Then let's go put points into my damage ability. So especially the Pulverize build, it can be a little bit more complex to create an order for the skills because it's going to depend when you get the Earth Legendary, which is guaranteed to be obtained, by the way. So it's not a drop. It is a guaranteed aspect that you can obtain, but you have to get to it first. So once you get it, you can start placing points into the right place, especially Earthen Might and this entire node right here. But everything else, honestly, outside of like the major core ability, everything else is a little bit pretty much do it whenever you want. Okay, so I'm giving you guys an order, but again, feel free to put some points into defensive if you feel like you're dying early on, or feel free to invest more into damage if you feel like you're already super tanky. But this build should be really, really, really tanky. You should not have any problem dying here. Nothing is going to bring you down. Okay, so that's going to be it for the skill tree. We're going to go back to the gearing aspect here. So we're going to go back to gear and skills. And we're going to talk about the boon first, and then we're going to move on to the aspect here. So for the spirit boon, for the deer, you're going to go for 10% reduced damage from elites. So that's going to be really good. You're just going to take 10% less damage. That's going to be really, really, really nice. If you want, you could take max spirit, get a bigger window of pulverize, but you're not going to be... There's only one pulverize that matters every 12 seconds. So this one is going to be one of those things that it won't matter too much. I like the reduced damage. It's pretty neat. 30% crit damage, really good. Make sure to get this. You could also get the critical strike chance, but I like the critical strike damage here. It's really, really neat to get those nice overpower hit. You're going to go with Energize here for additional spirit regen, 10% spirit every time that the lucky hit is triggered. That's going to be really, really good. And then every time you critical strike with Pack Leader here, you're going to have a chance to reset the cooldown of your companion ability, which means more wolf attack. It means more poison creeper, entangle and poison, which means more damage. It's going to be really, really good. And then you're going to go with Calm Before the Storm. Again, same mention as earlier. This is a nature magic skill proc, which means that it's not going to work until you get the legendary. So in the meantime, feel free to take anything else. You can go with the Earth skill here for the overpower. This is really, 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 really good as well. This is going to guarantee some overpower as well, so that's going to be pretty good when you get the legendary. In the meantime, you can go for either of these. They don't matter too much, honestly. This entire row is pretty much you either pick these, and when you get your Lego, you can get Calm or Obsidian. But Calm Before the Storm is going to make it so that you're going to get your Grizzly aspect faster. So while you're in Grizzly, you kill stuff. It lowers the cooldown, and at the same time, it extends the duration. So you're going to end up spamming Grizzly Rage and just spamming Pulverize everywhere. You're going to be having a laugh. You're going to be having a good time. It's going to be broken as hell. It's going to be super fun. Let's go over every single Codex aspect here really, really quickly, see what you can get. All of these are from dungeons or progressing the campaign. None of this is lucky random drops, so you're going to be guaranteed to get them at some point. You're going to be able to target them and plan around to obtaining all of these, and they're just going to make you tankier and do a little bit more damage. So aspect of disobedience, I get this on everybody. Massive amount of armor, really, really good. It's going to make you really hard to kill. Aspect of the Mending Stone, absolutely amazing here. So this one is going to work really, really well with this build because you actually have an Earth skill. So what's going to end up happening is the duration of the Earthen Bulwark is going to be increased. And every time you kill an enemy with Earth skill, which is your Pulverize, which is going to be all the time, it's going to refresh Earthen Bulwark. It's going to replenish the... it's not going to refresh the duration, but it's going to replenish the barrier, making you pretty much unkillable for 9 seconds on a 16-second cooldown. You have 7 seconds that you got to live, which is... It's insane. This is completely crazy. Completely overpowered for this build. Aspect of Expectant is going to increase your core damage to your Pulverize skill for every couple of Storm Strike that you do, free damage. Make sure you did take it. Aspect of the Protector, get this on everybody as well. Damaging an elite grants you a barrier. You get this in Act 1. Super solid, massive barrier. You're just never going to die. you're never going to die. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be really, really fun. This one is really nice when you are injured while crowd control. So if one of those Revenant manages to stun you, you didn't get out of the way. If they lower your health a little bit, you'll become unstoppable and you'll get out of CC instantly. But honestly, with Grizzly Rage making you unstoppable and Bulwark making you unstoppable for 9 seconds, it's going to be hard for you to be in a CC, we'll be honest. But this is just another escape mechanism so you don't die. Really, really useful, really nice. Aspect of Retaliation. This is insane. This is pretty much 20% increased damage at all time because your Fortify is always going to be maxed out. So this is just free 20% more damage. The duration of Grizzly Rage is going to be increased by 1 second because you're going to get the worst version of this from the Codex. But Critical Strike while Grizzly Rage is active also increase your Critical Strike damage by 10% for the duration. So that's going to be pretty neat as well. Little 10% increase Critical Strike damage. And this one is going to be the most important aspect of the entire build. It's going to be aspect of the Ursine Aura. This is what's going to make it that your Pulverize now does. Earth skill is a Earth skill, and every Earth skill in the game is also considered nature magic. So being Earth skill, it's also going to trigger the nature magic trigger that we have for this build, and it's just going to do massive amount of damage, and it's going to do residual damage as well for everything else. So this is going to be really, really nice because this is going to also work from the overpower damage. So every time the ability overpowers, it will continue to tectonic damage in overpower damage. So that's going to be quite insane. Everything is going to melt, and you're going to have a good time. For your gem here, we're going to go with Ruby, which is going to be 24% overpower damage. So no brainer. Max health, which is going to increase also the damage of overpower because it scales off max health. So you want to go Ruby on armor, and you want to go resistance on gem because you're going to have a massive amount of armor in that bear form. So you want to make sure you increase those resistance to all element. And before I move on here, quickly, I forgot to talk about the weapon before moving to the gem. As you can see, I don't have a codex in the weapon. I don't have a legendary. And the reason is you're going to want to swap your weapon very often. You're going to want to update your weapon to make sure that it is always the latest, most up-to-date damage-doing weapon that you can find. Every single other slot of gear that you have, the gear can lag behind 5-10 level. It won't matter. It won't matter that much. But the weapon, that needs to be updated very often, and you can even upgrade it at the blacksmith. Make sure it's always as high as possible in item level that you are able to afford without losing too much gold. It's just going to be really, really good. If you keep aspecting a legendary into it, you're going to run out of gold. It costs a massive amount of gold to aspect a weapon. It's not going to allow you to upgrade it as cheaply anymore. It's just not a good idea. The percentage of damage that you're going to get out of it is probably not going to be worth it compared to maintaining a very high power level weapon with high amount of damage. So that's my recommendation. Feel free to do whatever feels good to you. Obviously, if you find a good high item level legendary on the ground weapon, of course use it, of course. But if you find a better rare, after a while, you're going to want to make sure you replace it, and you're not going to want to aspect it every time you get a new one. So that's going to be very important. For wanted gear, life. So vitality, maximum life, all of those things are going to scale your overpower damage. You're going to want, so vitality, maximum life. You're going to want willpower. That's going to increase your damage for your abilities. Overpower damage, close damage, plus skills to pulverize. That's going to be really, really good. Anything, honestly, that just does good damage, like critical strike is going to be good. Damage to vulnerable even could work, but mostly try to focus on overpower damage. That's going to be good, but vulnerable works because you have vulnerable on there. And also even crowd control damage, honestly, could be good. But plus skills, willpower, vit, maximum life, those are going to be really good. And close damage as well. Increase is going to be really good. And you're going to be just blasting. You're going to be unkillable. You don't even need to look for any defensive stuff on your gear, because Druid has the most insane amount of defensive layer in their tree. You're just going to be unkillable. There's nothing that's going to bring you down. You don't need to get that much stuff on your gear. Just focus on damage, wreck everything, demolish everything, and have a good time. So that's going to be it for the Pulverize Bear here. Before you go, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy the content. I know it's kind of cheesy. We say it all the time, but it truly does help. So if you want to support, I would really appreciate it. Also, feel free to comment down below if you would like to let me know any criticism about the video, if there's anything that I missed out that you would have liked to know, or maybe that you feel like I went over a little bit too fast, you didn't quite understand, make sure to let me know. Or if you just enjoyed a video, write it down. It helps me a lot as well. Also, I would love to know what's going to be the first class that you're going to be leveling in Diablo 4. Obviously, you're watching a Druid video right now, so I'm suspecting Druid. But if this is your alt, what is going to be your main? What's going to be your first class? I would love to know. Tell me in the comment section down below. And also, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch pretty much every single day. I stream on Twitch starting at 11 a.m. EST. I'm live. We're building builds right now for Diablo. We're going to be playing Diablo when it comes out pretty much every single day for years to come. This is going to be main content for me, and we're going to be creating guides, content, and all that fun stuff. We're going to have a really, really good time. We have a big party planned for the launch. We're going to have the Support a Streamer event for the horse. If you want to obtain that, you're going to be able to obtain it on the channel. You're going to be able to get Twitch drop as well. It's going to be cool. It's going to be really, really fun. I suggest you come hang out, come say hello. And that would make me really happy, honestly. I always love to see people come by and say hello to me. So I hope to see you on Twitch chat or in the comment section down below on YouTube, or maybe I will see you in Sanctuary. Bye-bye, my friend.